I get this question a ton on my channel, and that is, should I run Etsy ads to my store to start getting sales? So I'm going to answer that question in this video today, but I'll also be going over my $12,000 ad budget on Etsy last year. I'll let you know exactly how much in views, how much in additional revenue that got me, and whether or not I think it was worth it. And if you're new here, my name is Cassie Johnson, and I started this channel about 8 months ago to share my Etsy journey so far after starting selling Etsy and print on demand in 2020. And since then, I've been able to sell over $600,000 worth of t-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, and tote bags on Etsy using print on demand. And with this channel, my goal is to help you do the same thing. First, there are a few quick things that you should understand about Etsy ads before we get started. First of all, Etsy ads are a pay-per-click advertising system, which means you get to pick how much you are willing to spend on ads per day, and you only get charged when someone actually clicks one of those ads. But you do get charged whether they buy or not. I also want to note that I'm not talking about off-site ads where Etsy advertises your products on Facebook or Google, in which case those ones you only get charged if they actually purchase the item. So let's answer your first and biggest question. Should you start using Etsy ads in your store today? Well, the answer is going to depend on where you are on your Etsy journey so far. If you aren't currently making any sales on Etsy, then now is actually not the time to start using Etsy ads to get more sales in your store. I know this sounds kind of backwards, but hear me out. Etsy ads are like gasoline. You want to pour them on a fire that's already burning to get the fire to grow even hotter. Whereas if you pour gasoline on a pile of wood that's not burning yet, then it just gets wet. If you aren't currently making sales, then you need to focus on how to create organic sales in your store first. Here are a few things to consider if you aren't currently making sales. First, you need to remember that it can take a few weeks to really start gaining traction on your Etsy listings. 2 to 3 weeks is a pretty solid time frame to expect, unless it's a really hot trend that you got to early. If your listings are older than that and you're still not seeing sales in your store in any of your listings, then there's a few other things that could be affecting this. It could be that you're not currently selling what is popular and selling right now on Etsy. It could be that your designs or mock-ups aren't quite as competitive as maybe you thought they were. Or it could be that maybe your SEO isn't quite as great as it could be yet. Etsy ads are entirely based off of the keywords that you put in your title and tags. And when people search those keywords, your ad shows up in those search results. So if you don't have the right keywords in your title and your tags, then Etsy ads would not help you. So it is very important to have great SEO on your listings. This is where keyword tools like Everbee can really come in handy, so you can quickly and easily click on a listing, see what they're using for their title and their tags, and compare to what you should be using in your listings as well. And if you're not sure what to create and when it comes to seasons and holidays throughout the year with print on demand, then I am excited to announce that I did create a full yearly calendar of what holidays and seasons are great to make t-shirts for, and I also listed exactly when you should be making these t-shirts to give you a really clear map of when you should be making shirts and when you should have them listed by. And that'll be linked down in the description below. So your homework, if you're not getting sales, is to keep creating new listings in new niches with new design styles over and over again until you find what works for you, and then it'll be time to advertise them. And if you're not sure how to find what's selling really well right now that you should list in your store, I will link a video down in the description that shows you 6 free ways to find trends as well. Now let's talk to the people who are currently making sales in their Etsy store. Should you run ads? And the answer is yes, you should. Once you've proven that people like your listing and that your SEO is working, now you know that if you get it in front of more people, that you'll get more sales. And that's where Etsy ads are actually the perfect thing. The customers on Etsy are there with a buying intention in mind, unlike with Facebook, Instagram, or Pinterest ads, where they may be there for a completely different reason. So let's jump into my Etsy ads numbers from last year so you can see what might be possible for your store. And just for reference, I started selling in May of 2020 and sold $134,000 in revenue in my first 8 months. So starting in 2021 in January, that was only my 9th month selling on Etsy. So I do very much consider myself still a beginner at that beginning of the year. I started advertising in January with a budget of $40 per day. Now keep in mind again, just because I had a budget of $40 per day doesn't mean I was actually spending $40 per day. Likely in the beginning, you won't spend all of your budget either, because Etsy still needs to learn who is best to advertise your listings to get the most conversions. I was advertising only my top 10 or 15 listings that were already selling in my store. I'd never suggest advertising every single listing. I would watch my budget weekly to make sure that these listings were performing well and I wasn't losing money on them. And I'd add new listings that started selling well for seasons and holidays that were coming up closer. Between January and October, I spent an average of $20 to $30 per day on my Etsy ads budget. And then when November came, I did raise my budget all the way up to $150 per day, and in November alone, I spent over $3,000 advertising my products. I spent a total of $12,270.16, which got me shown in the Etsy search results over 2 million times. So that was over 2 million more chances that I had of customers clicking on my listings to consider purchasing them. So of those 2 million views, 30,800 people actually clicked on my listings, and 1,458 people actually purchased. That is a 4.7% conversion rate of the customers who actually clicked the listing and then purchased. Just for reference, a 3 to 4% conversion rate normally in e-commerce is considered very, very good, and a 1 to 2% conversion rate is considered really average. So overall, last year, I sold over $348,000 in total revenue, and 14% of that was because of those Etsy ads. So in total, because of the $12,000 I spent on ads, I made an additional $48,064.10 in revenue. But we have to remember with print on demand, I don't get to keep that full $48,000 in revenue. With print on demand, it's pretty normal to have about a 30% profit margin when it comes to your products, since another company is actually printing and shipping all of the items for you. So with that average profit margin of around 30%, then off of the $48,000 that I sold, I probably made around $14,419 in total profit from running those ads. So if you take the $12,270 that I spent on ads, I probably had a real profit of around $2,000 total off running the $12,000 in ads for the year. So that brings us to the big question. Do I think spending $12,000 last year to make an additional maybe $2,000 in profit was worth it? And the answer is yes, I do. Sure, $2,000 in profit off of running that many ads doesn't sound like a lot, but the thing that Etsy ads really gets you is it gets your listings more sales and more reviews so that it boosts your organic listing further up in the Etsy search results. And what these numbers aren't measuring is how many more organic sales I got because of running these ads. So you need to have proper expectations when running Etsy ads in your store. You can't be expecting to spend $10 a day and make an additional $1,000 a day in revenue. Anything with your Etsy ads that's over break even and making a profit is considered a win in my book. Etsy ads, again, can really help to take your business to that next level if you're already making those sales. But it's not as easy as just turning on the Etsy ads and seeing the sales roll in. It's something you have to monitor weekly, take ads off, turn ads on, check which keywords are actually working, and make sure that they're staying profitable for you. Let me know in the comments down below if you're excited to start trying Etsy ads in your store today. And like this video and subscribe if you enjoyed this content so far, and make sure to turn on those notification bells because I'll be creating a more step-by-step tutorial on how to run Etsy ads in your store next week, so make sure to stay tuned for that if you enjoyed this video. And as always, thank you so much for watching all the way until the end, and I'll see you in the next one.